Hey guys, welcome to the Traditional Bow Hunting Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkovic. Today we're going to do a couple classic funnels. This new series I'm going to start. I'll be doing this a little bit throughout the winter and the off season, but these are going to be some hunting scenarios for deer that kind of teach you something. Now I know I do the tips from the tree stand and show you some of that stuff, but now it's not hunting season. I can't do it. I figured it'd be some tips from the whiteboard. I don't know what kind of series I'll call it, but today we're going to talk about 4 classic funnel scenarios here. This will get more advanced as it goes, but we are starting from the beginning, some of the basics here. So for example, in this particular scenario right here, we have 2 open areas. These can be open crop fields, like beans or something like that. They could be hay fields, they could be pasture, they could be open meadows in the woods. They could be a place that's just been recently logged and hasn't grown back up yet. Heck, they could be 2 swamps. We don't know, whatever it is. It's 2 places that deer do not want to go. Okay, they do not want to be in and exposed in. So they are going to funnel, again, keyword, funnel. This is going to funnel deer activity. So if this is big woods out here, it's all big woods, this is all big woods, and deer want to get here, they are going to come through this funnel. Okay, either way they go, doesn't make any difference where they come from, but they are going to somehow want to come through here. That creates a funnel. These are things that you want to look for. Some are subtle, some are easy to find. For example, like I said, in the crop field, the crop zones, you got open field, and a strip of woods in the middle of them, you have a perfect funnel. Now, depending on what's in that funnel and how wide that is, there are different ways to hunt it. A lot of people think traditionally that it's best to hunt it if the wind is going this way to set up right over here. If the wind is going this way here, coming this direction, they want to set up over here. Okay, not a bad way to go about it. Definitely not a bad thing. I prefer to do things a little different depending on the funnel. Now I will sit those, but I prefer to have that wind kind of where those deer feel it's in their favor. So I would like, if the wind's going this direction here, I want to be over here so those deer that come into here feel like they have it in their favor. It's coming in. If the wind's going this way, that's when I'm going to hunt. I'd rather hunt it on some kind of an angle wind myself rather than a straight wind, because these scenarios here make those deer feel a little uncomfortable in there. But they do still work, but just something to think about without getting too crazy or out of whack. Another great way to hunt these, depending if this is really choked up and really thick in here and the deer don't want to walk through it, they will usually skirt the edges of it on either side and use that. Now if they're going to do that, if they're going to be on, if the wind is coming across this way, like we're seeing, the wind is going this way, they are going to want to skirt usually on this side because they can use their eyes and see everything out here, and they have the scent coming from any danger that could be in there. So they'll be on that side typically. Now there is no rhyme or reason. Deer do whatever they want to, but I find that more often. If the wind is coming across this way towards them, they will, if they're not going to be in the middle of it where they got the security, they will try to be on this side so they can see anything out here and they can smell anything from inside of there. So it kind of gives you that simple scenario. Another way to hunt it. This does, yes, get you the funnel. Now, during the rut, okay, especially when deer are moving a lot, deer are cruising or bucks are cruising, there are deer that are not gonna, bucks that may not want to come through there. They may want to work this edge or this edge, and they may or may not come into here. So instead of getting only the deer that come in here and missing these end ones, I prefer to try and set up somewhere where I'm going to catch them here if it gives me the opportunity to shoot everything, where I can cover that whole area, including any intersecting cross trails in there too. So that's kind of one of my favorite places to be. And if I do that, I have that where I have that wind blowing somewhere into this direction, or I have it blowing into this direction, you can see I'm pretty safe for all that scenarios. So it works out pretty good. So, you know, if it's going the other way, you set up down here. But it just shows you that there's some options for that. Gives you some ideas. But classic funnels, classic pinch points, they're in the big woods, they're in every place, they're options. That's a great way to go about it. Now, another good classic funnel, whether it's an open field, open water, again, whatever the case is, deer do not want to be in here. If they don't want to be in here, they have to skirt around the edges. Doesn't matter which way they're coming from. They have to skirt the edges of it. It doesn't matter, again, but they're not going to go through it. So somehow they're going to go around it. Key point, key point, key point, key point. See how you're getting an intersection? Yes, you could hunt it right here, but when you hunt it right there, you only have one. Only getting the deer that are working this way. If you come over here and hunt it here, you get them that are going like this and that are going like this. Makes for a great intersection point. Okay, will they sometimes cut that corner? Yes, they can. Inside corner scenarios, it does happen, and you'll have to see that based on the sign. You might be better off hunting in there a little tighter to catch that, or maybe coming over here where you catch them as they do round that and catch that. You have to do a little boots on the ground and look at it, but you're kind of getting the gist of how this no-go area now creates zones that you want to hunt. Same kind of scenario. So let's give you a couple good funnel type scenarios for no-go deer areas. Another great one is going to be when you're dealing with water. Water is a very easy one to understand and figure out. Now, this here is a river. A river naturally bends and snakes. Okay? What you have here is a couple scenarios. I got two different versions of it to show you. Now on this, most deer, when they're walking in a rut scenario or something like that, they're usually not going to go inside of here and follow this all the way around. Usually they're going to go right across just like that. Okay, so this creates a funnel. Instead of having to worry about trying to cover all this area from here to all this area out here and be able to shoot that whole thing, all you got to do is be right here where you can cut that off. So it gives you a good option. Okay, so it makes things a little bit easier for you. So that's a good option for deer that are cruising along rivers. That bends of the river will funnel the movements of those deer. Plus you will probably have deer that could be bedding in here. When they come out of here, they want to go around that bend. You might have deer bedding in here. When they come out, they want to go around that bend. So you can see how something like that is going to give you that good option to be able to kill those deer and take advantage of it. They may be bedding right here, and then they might be crossing right across that. Now usually they're not going to cross right on a bend. They're going to come across this way, kind of thing like that. So possibly, if you, depending on the option, or they might come across here to there. But they'll usually come off of a point and come across if they're gonna. Now rivers usually a little bigger, they're probably not going to cross it. But if they are, if your sign says so, you might want to move over here a little bit or over here a little bit, because you're still catching all that. And you'll see it based on the trails, but you might also catch anything coming across like that to catch there too. So again, some of it you got to get on the ground and take a look around at, see what the actual scenario is. But when you see this on a map, you know that somewhere right around this point is going to be a gold mine spot. So you just got to get there and do a little research and figure things out. Now, with this one down here, okay, you get these oxbows like this. This is that area in here. Deer love to bed inside of this area here. This area here is a gold mine. My marker's kind of going, but that area inside of here is a gold mine for deer to bed in. They have the security, they want that wind blowing straight down that point just like that. They know that nothing can get to them. They're pretty safe, and you can't really hunt right here to be able to get them when they come out because of the wind. But if the wind's blowing that way, you can set up right over here. Again, catch any deer that are cruising along that edge and catch him when he comes out of there, okay? Or this way, if there's food over here and you want to think he's going that way, he may come out and go that way. And you have that intersection action, and your wind is blowing out here and not affecting anything. So you can see rivers give you a lot of flexibility, a lot of options to be able to hunt them right way and really narrow things down for you. Now, creeks. One more on here is creeks. Smaller bodies of water where deer are not afraid to cross anytime they want to. Good points to where they're going to cross. Again, as I mentioned up there, deer will usually use the point. If this is, we're going to call this here woods. So this is woods, sorry, this woods, this down here is woods too, okay? Now they want to go, well, if this point right here is all wooded, this is all trees and thick cover, and they're going to bed in there. When they want, they'll come out to this point to cross. When they cross, they don't want to cross at this bend, because this bend right here is going to be all washed out in deep water there. They will come from that point to a flat spot on the water. Okay, when that happens, and they're going to do that, again, as I showed in that one, great intersection points right here, and maybe not be a bad idea if those deer trails are running like this, to move that out to here so that you can catch it further out and you get the intersection option out of there. Another thing with creeks is when they cross, creek crossings, when you're seeing this kind of scenario. The other thing is, a lot of places, some creeks have high, especially when you get, in hill country and stuff, you have high banks and low banks. They'll drop down just about anything. Okay, I've seen deer come off of ledges that are pretty crazy. They don't care going down, but going up, they prefer to go up a drop in the bank, something that's easier for them to cross. So they'll come down this creek and cross here. Okay, they'll come down here and cross here. This is where they want to cross at. So that creek crossing that gets all this traffic becomes a phenomenal place to set up a stand at, okay? So you get them where they're going to be on that bank over here is usually the best way because you know where it's going to be key at. But again, depends on the wind directions, you know, what your options are. If the winds are going this way, I would prefer to actually be somewhere over here where I can shoot this, anything coming into here, my wind is safe. Yes, they could come up behind you like this too, but they're going to feel better going to that creek crossing with the wind usually in their face. They'll come out earlier, basically, in my opinion. So that gives you a good scenario. So it just kind of shows you 4 different kind of options. Classic funnels, classic pinch points. Gives you some ideas when you're out there and you're cyber scouting and you find these scenarios, you know to go in and look at those. When I pick a spot on a map of any one of these scenarios, I know I don't have to look at all of this stuff. I don't have to research this whole area or this whole area here or any of this kind of stuff. If I find this bog or I find this water source or open field, I know that all I have to do, depending on the wind direction, is go to one of these 4 corners and figure out exactly what I need right there. I only have to scout right there. That's all I got to do because I already know what's going to happen. Here, I only have to scout this end right here or this end, depending on the wind direction. I know what's going to happen here. When I find these, I know I only need to look at that spot or any of these. It's all real simple. You find them on a map, you figure them out. If you've never been there before and you're going in to scout it, you know right where to go look and you can check it out. If you're going in to hunt it blind, you already know based on the terrain and how they're going to use it. All you have to do is get there and spot check that spot, shoot up a tree, kill a deer, drag it out, go home. So thanks for watching. I'll have more of these tips here for you soon. We'll talk to you later. Bye.